Hi, I'm Tony. Welcome back to Elgin 2030 for episode 2. On today's episode, we continue to discuss Elgin's breed-specific legislation regarding pit bulls. But first, Councilman Prigge wanted to say a few words. I was just so bothered by having everyone yell at me last Wednesday. Well, Priggs, that's because you were talking to them like they were idiots. Well, I thought my election proved they were idiots. You know, when I think about that meeting last week, I actually think things went pretty okay.
Sit down, or I'll have you removed.
I'll handle this, Mayor Potter.
This is a $17 haircut.
Whoa, $17.
Wouldn't that have been random and cool? So I was thinking about this ordinance over the last week, and this is kind of what I've come up with. Work with me on this. The council thinks your dog is more dangerous than a gun. Let me explain. I'm about as Democrat and liberal as it gets, but I have no problems with gun ownership because I know that the majority of people that own guns are responsible people. But if this ordinance was speaking about guns, it would sound something like this. Your gun must be licensed with the city at the cost of $50, which covers your gun for 3 years. Your gun must display its license tag at all times. You must have a trigger lock installed whenever it is not inside your home. Your gun must be kept inside a gun safe, which will be inspected by the city. Since your gun may at any time fire a bullet into another person, whether you are holding the gun or it's sitting on the counter, you must have separate and considerable liability insurance to cover that eventuality. Obviously, owning your dog, according to this ordinance, more dangerous than owning a gun. So I read yesterday that Elgin loosened the regulations on pit bulls. We don't need a sign in the front yard, although I might put one up anyway with a picture of my dog in his cowboy outfit. The fee is now $50 for 3 years. You don't need one of those idiotic transport licenses for your dog, and you can let your dog run in your backyard if you have at least a 3-foot fence and the dog is muzzled. Plus, the insurance requirement has dropped to $100,000. But your pit bull, still dangerous. Not good enough. Look, council, we'll register our dogs. Personally, I think all dogs in Elgin should be registered and licensed every year, which would pay for a real animal control ordinance, a real control program. But if you still have your panties in a bunch over pit bulls, let's call them dogs of special consideration or something like that. Leave off the dangerous dog restrictions until the dog actually does something dangerous. No matter how you loosen up the restrictions on pit bulls, you are still punishing the law-abiding citizens of Elgin and their family pets by automatically including them as dangerous dogs. You've been given enough information to prove the truth about pit bulls. You've had offers from across the country to teach you the truth about pit bulls. But instead of embracing that information, you insist that all good and truthful information must come from the people of Elgin. That doesn't stop you from presenting your bad information or legal decisions from across the country, but any good information needs to come from within the city boundaries. How childish are you planning to get? The worst part of all this bullshit is that 99% of that ordinance is great stuff. You would have overwhelming support if you just took out that pit bull specific part. Your citizens would hold you up as examples to surrounding cities. You would be taking a stand by saying, we will not bow down to fear in a way that takes away the rights of our responsible citizens. We will instead work with them. Cogley, you were probably taught Blackstone's formulation in school, right? Better that 10 guilty persons escape than 1 innocent suffer. This pit bull restriction is the complete opposite of that philosophy. But since I don't expect even that last speech to change anything, what else can we do? Well, there is a protest scheduled for tomorrow, Saturday the 6th, in front of City Hall from 9 to 11. Bring a sign, leave your dogs at home. The address is 150 Dexter Court in Elgin. There's some douche on the Daily Herald telling everyone to bring their dogs, but just to be clear, that guy is a douche. He has nothing to do with the protest. The American Kennel Club is writing a letter to the city. It should be delivered by Monday. I will be on the radio shopping show Monday morning. I think it's at 7:20. We'll be talking about this topic. and support the council members who are trying to see this from your point of view. Councilman Stephan, played by Green Lantern, Councilman Captain, played by Captain America, and Councilman Dunn, played by Firestorm the Nuclear Man. They need data, but once again, not about your dog. Make sure they know every study out there. Make suggestions on how the losers can be penalized and how we can be rewarded. Make sure you are counted and don't let yourself be intimidated. I had to laugh at the mayor's reaction to our little outburst last week. You know, the arguments in Parliament in the UK make the United States look like, well, like that skinny kid that gets sand kicked in his face at the back of comic books. Remember, this council works for us, but also remember, most important, they are people and citizens of Elgin too. They will make mistakes. They will act without enough information or the right information. This doesn't make them bad people. It just makes them bad councilmen. Well, what about me, Tony? Well, you don't fit into either of those categories, city manager. Remember the one man's garbage is another man's treasure quote? Oh, yeah. Well, off to Coles. If we lose with this council, it's up to us to put the people in who will listen and use their influence to kill the pit bull portion of this ordinance. Because the truth of the matter is that Mr. Freeze may never see the truth about pit bulls. And Dr. Doom, I told, was burned when a pit bull cheated at cards and won the Millennium Falcon. So let these voices ooze with greasy smarminess or snores if that's what they think is impressive. They will be short-lived and temporary. And I do have two puppets left here. Councilman Warren, you have a chance to stand up and represent your fellow citizen. I know it's got to be difficult to identify with where we are coming from, but pit bulls in this city need a hero, not some guy that eats blind fish. If you have any questions or comments about blind fish or anything, you can always email me at tony@elgin2030.com. I've had some great comments and some excellent questions, and rest assured, Elgin 2030 will continue long after this pit bull thing is ancient history. So, until next time, anything to say, Councilman Gilliam? We're not set in stone. We're not trying to ram. I think he's asleep. See you next time.